So in this video, I'm going to share a few pointers, lessons that I've been able to draw from a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And I saved the best for last. The last two pointers were a big reveal for me. I was like, wow. So stick around till the end and let me get started. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm pleased to have you here. My name is Shifa, and if you're new here, this is your first time clicking into this video, please go ahead and join the family by subscribing, hitting the bell notification button such that you're alerted whenever I post. So in today's video, I'm going to share a book I've read multiple times, about 3 times. Yeah, I call that multiple times, given that I used to be the person that doesn't read newspapers, doesn't read articles. So for me to even say multiple times, I feel like, wow, we've come to that. Well, I'm going to share the title, and then I'm going to share a few lessons that I've gotten from this book, or some pointers that you could find helpful in your life as well. You're not special, or simply put, you are as special as everyone else. You know, this thing that we tend to think that you feel a certain type of way when someone doesn't do X or Y, or at work someone is not agreeing to what your perceptions of something. You want life to go your own way. Well, it's not going to serve you in the long run, and like, it's okay if it doesn't go your own way. And this one, I used to be agitated. Like, I used to find it like I would build up a lot of rage when something doesn't go my way, like, why? Because I'm special. Well, you're not special. You're just as special. If you say you are special, then consider that everyone else around you is as special as you are. So, because we are different, right? So, because you're different in that sense, everyone is special. So the sooner you realize that, then you're going to move past that entitlement, sense of entitlement, that, hey, me, I'm cool, and maybe I deserve this. Why is it that I'm the one getting this? Nzera nze gwe baloga, nzera nze, nze byange bitatambula. The sooner you realize that, the better. It's not about, I can't explain it any further. You are as special as everyone else. Who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for. So you ask yourself a question, or most of us, picture the end result. For example, losing weight. I picture myself in a nice skimpy dress. Okay, not all the way skimpy, but a nice tight dress. And I feel like I'm sexy and everything. I feel prettier, but I'm not willing to put in the work to eat the right foods, to cut out all these pleasure foods. So what pain? Ask yourself, what pain are you willing to stand? Like, are you willing to go to the gym? Are you willing to wake up 5 and go to the gym 5 a.m.? Are you willing to walk? What pain are you willing to endure? So ask yourself that, and then the next time you envision maybe something in the future you see yourself as being, take a step back and think of, okay, what does it take to get there? Am I willing to go through steps A, B, C, D? Pain serves a purpose. Because remember, when you were young, like, they used to tell you, okay, don't touch that hot kettle or something. So because we are curious, when you touch the kettle, of course you're going to get burnt. That pain is going to tell you, it's going to send sensors to your brain that, hey, when you see a kettle on a stove, it is hot and it's not good for you. So pain serves a purpose. You don't have to negate pain out of your life. Imagine a life without pain. Life sucks sometimes, and it's okay. Sit with your negative experiences, sit with your negative emotions. I hate to call them negative because I don't know, my brain interprets that as bad, or because how we were brought up to think about certain experiences. When we are older, of course we are going to compare those now experiences to the experiences we had, to what we learned when we were growing up, and we're going to consider those negative. So it's important to not carve out your negative experiences or emotions, because this is actually good for your emotional health. You're not only supposed to experience the positive emotions, also the negative. Sit with them, give them a table, have coffee, like process, and come to the real reason as to why they're there. Like, they're serving you in a way that because the emotions go and come, and even the positive emotions are going to come and they're going to go. We have this tendency of, let me talk about myself. I used to have the tendency of, oh my God, I'm happy, and then I dread, because when I'm happy, I used to think, when I'm happy now, I don't know if you get that, or you've had it, or you've encountered this. Like, when you're happy today or in a moment, then you dread. I'm like, okay, the next thing is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. Like, you don't even get to enjoy the moments that you're in, but rather you're already worried about the next coming thing, because you think it's going to be bad and negative because you've had something good. So I used to have those, and now I'm learning to be in the moment, enjoy the moment, and then know that this moment is also going to go, although it is good, and yes, I want to hold on to it, but it's going to go, and that's okay. And then maybe something bad is going to happen. I don't know, maybe something good is going to follow. Wait for that moment, and then embrace the negatives as well. So, in fact, in his book, he says, holding on to, or like, if you're only experiencing the positives, that is already unhealthy. Like, if you're someone who is programmed to always see positive, and I know I'm kind of contradicting myself, because I remember in the previous video I said something about affirming yourself and trying to see positives in the hardest of situations. But I'll counteract that and say we need to embrace the negatives as well. Life sucks. It really does. Like, sometimes you're bombarded with several things at a go, and you're like, but why me? To be able to go past those, you need to let them sit with you and process them and see the way forward. If you see me looking down, I jotted them down on a notebook. Is to think about life as a series of problems we solve to find meaning. Look at it this way. So in his book, he says, he talks about, I will not quote him word for word, but from my understanding, he says, when you create a solution, you're actually creating another problem. And for me, I resonated with this because recently, like, we just started evening walks with my partner, because we have fitness goals and everything. So, of course, we created a solution to, as opposed to, like, a solution for our health, and living, longer and everything. But then we created a problem, which is, that means we have to be on time. We have to, make sure that certain things are in order, to make sure that we don't skip a day. So, in essence, life is really a series of problems that we continue solving, and find happiness when we solve these problems. So the next time you're creating a solution, know that you're creating a problem. And even like in my IT field, like, there are many softwares out there, like, they solve day-to-day problems, but then they release newer versions because they found a problem with the first solution they formed. I don't know if, did I make sense? I think I did. Yeah. So when you look at it like that, it is really a series of problems. Anyway, in his book, he talks about things like, if you choose, I'm not going to quote him word for word, but from my understanding and what I can remember is, if you choose better values, you get better problems. It is not realistic to think of a life without problems. You give, if you care about the right things, for him he calls it, if you give a fuck about, if you give better facts, then you're going to get better problems. So this next point is in regard to, finding self and everything. I feel like I've been reading a lot of, okay, not a lot, but most of my reading, even articles, are more on the side of, self-improvement, finding yourself. But when I stumbled upon this book, well, like I said, he calls a spade, not a big spoon. So another lesson that I've derived from this is, you can't really know yourself because you are constantly changing, and that is good. Because, and for me, I used to like change for me was change was bad, like all things bad. Not knowing yourself fully and having that mindset that who you are is constantly going to change, it forces you to remain humble and accepting of other people's differences. Like, you don't come with all your judgments, or me, I am black, or me, I know I'm honest, or me, I know I'm this, and you're judging people anyhow, because you also don't know yourself. You don't know what you're doing. So you might as well just join the rest of us who don't also know ourselves, and accept each other's differences. Self-improvement is about prioritizing what to give a fuck about or what to care about. It's the things that you find more valuable. Because I remember a version of me, and like, let me say I'm a software, and this version, Shifa version, is 2, and then the version before was 1. Like, comparing the two, my values then and my values now are entirely, different. Maybe some I have now, I carried forth, but the core values now, because I remember version 1, and I'm like, and maybe there will be a version 3, because change is good, and this one is a huge one. Like, I even feel in my heart of hearts that I'm still struggling with it, and that's okay. So, and I saved these 2 pointers for last because they're a big revelation for me. So what I'm talking about is failure is being an integral part of our life. I'm going to speak for me, not for everyone. I fear failure, like, bluntly speaking. I fear failure. I have that fear. I'm like, what if I fail? I never say what if I blossom, or what if I flourish. So, failure, fear of failure. Here is one thing to note from his book again. We can be truly successful only at something we are willing to fail at. And he goes ahead and says, if you see someone who is good at something, just note that they have failed at it multiple times than you have. Now, this one for me was like a wake-up call. I was like, most of what we're being sold, the Bulango advertisement, like, they bombard us, and they're like, oh, my life is good. Or even if it's someone's fitness journey, all you see is their results, not their, maybe they woke up one morning and they didn't want to exercise, and they didn't, and they ate a cookie. You probably don't see those because maybe we all have that certain fear of failure. You're like, or you don't want to start something because you're afraid you'll fail. And if you see someone who is not good at something, they haven't failed at it, you know, time and again, or time that they have not failed at it enough for them to be better at it. So for me, that was like it's concrete in my heart, and I'm like, hey, if you haven't mastered that, it means you haven't really, you know, you haven't failed at it essentially. Time and again, such that you can master it, because failure helps us learn and grow. It's how you come up with ideas to embark on something, to find out, okay, this I did this way, so maybe let me try another way. It helps you learn. It's not your it's not really your enemy. Fear of failure, or rather failure is not your enemy. It's an integral part of life. And imagine a kid, like not a kid, a baby, when they're young. He goes actually ahead and gives this example. When a child or baby is learning to walk, they fall multiple times and they could count. But do they stop and say, oh, this is not for me? No, they will walk and they will fall, they will get up, walk again, fall, get up. Essentially, you just get better. And like software, just like software, there is a version 1, version 2, version 3. So if we are unwilling to fail, then we are unwilling to be successful. That is what he says. Yeah. So that brings me to my last point. So last but not least, and I saved these 2 pointers for last because they're like a big revelation for me. And if you see the light changing, it's because it's coming cloudy or something. Anyway, so he explained unconditional love in a way that I didn't think about before. I thought I know what all love is all about and everything, but this is what he says, unconditional love, and it resonates with me because like it makes a lot of sense, when what he explained and what I'm going to tell you, how he explains it. It's essentially accepting someone as they are, of course, but most importantly, supporting them, supporting them while they solve their own problems. Not you, the other person, like not you trying to solve their issues or their problems. You're going to stand with them, support them, and support can be a lot of things, but they need to make sure that they are the ones solving their problems. You solving their problems is crippling them, and in the long run, that's why we have people saying, oh, he did this A, B, C, D, and F for me, so I can't possibly leave, because you're tied down, you're kind of tied down, and that is toxic. You need to stay because you want to, and not because someone did ABCD. So that is something I was like, wow. Anyway, that wraps up the pointers and lessons that I was able to learn from this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And please, 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 if you get your hands on this book, there are so many lessons that I found myself, drawing from this book. And maybe you're also going to draw so many lessons from it. Please share down below in the comments if you've read it, if you've not, like what pointers you have in your life that are, shaping how you live your life. Share them below. I would love to learn from you. Like I said, learning doesn't stop. And let me catch you in my next video. Bye for now.